Hey, my name is Tiffany, and a couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that has given me only 44% lung capacity. Chill, I know that sounds scary, but this journey has brought me to you and has inspired me to start this platform called Living My Best Autoimmune Life. This part of the project is an interview series where I share the stories of people also living with an autoimmune disease to show you that despite our diagnosis, we are still living our best lives. Okay, I'm done with the intro. Enjoy the episode, and I'll see you in the comments. Hello, beautiful people. My name is Tiffany Thompson. Welcome back to another episode of Living My Best Autoimmune Life. You know how it goes. It's about sharing the stories of people that are living with invisible diseases. And today we have the pleasure of welcoming our next guest, Chantal Archibald. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being with us, for making your way. I know it was a long journey to get here.
It was.
But guys, she's here. She's here. So can we start by getting to know you more? Can you introduce yourself, your background, what you do?
Okay. So
Your whole life story.
My whole life story. All right. So I'm 42. I'm a mom of one. She's 6. Her name is Ivy. And currently I'm on medical retirement. So
Okay.
I do no longer work. I used to work for the federal government in HR.
Okay.
And that stopped about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And that was due just to give me a break. At first, it was supposed to just be a short break off work, but my neurologist ended up telling me, I'm not getting any better. So he wanted me to take it easy, conserve my energy, and kind of take things slow and not have to worry about the everyday of working and that aspect of life.
Okay. So what is the autoimmune condition that you are thriving with?
So I have multiple sclerosis, and MS for short. And that is a disease that attacks several parts of your body, actually. So in your brain, you have nerves, and they are covered with a protective coating.
Okay.
So when you have MS, that protective coating is damaged, which leaves your nerves exposed. So just every day, like if the nerve for your walking, one day decides to just stop working, well, you're not going to be able to walk. So I have relapse remitting MS. There's 3 different kinds of MS.
Okay.
There's primary progressive, there's relapse remitting, and there's a secondary relapse remitting, which is like basically you're getting worse if you're at that level.
Okay.
So relapse remitting means you have flare-ups. Sometimes you're good, sometimes you're not good. Mm-hmm. There is no cure for MS, and I take a injection, IV injections every 6 months, and that is to delay the progression of the disease and to hopefully help with any damage that has been done to kind of stabilize it. And that's it.
Whoa, that was a lot to take in.
It's
because I hear about MS all the time, but I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah.
So to hear what you're saying and you're sharing and to see you here was very informative. Thank you for sharing that. Whoa, it's a lot.
It's much more than what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's way more. It's way more. It gets much more detailed, really. Yeah.
When did this all start for you? Like, what were the initial symptoms? Like, how did it start? Take us back to that day.
I was diagnosed when I was 29, so that's 13 years ago.
Okay.
I made a mistake. I said I'm 42. I have this habit of aging.
Rounding up?
Yeah, rounding up. I'm 41 and a half almost.
Okay.
But, so when I was 29, 12 years ago. And, but prior to that, I had many symptoms.
Okay.
I remember in my 20s, I had numbness and tingling in my toes and my feet and my legs.
Like Raynaud's?
Like almost like pins and needles.
Oh, okay.
Pins and needles. And every time I'd go to the washroom, so as women we sit down. So every time I'd sit down, I'd get dizzy. Like, you know, if you bend forward a little bit, like I would always get dizzy. And I'm like, I remember asking like people, do you get dizzy when you go to the washroom? Yeah. Everyone's like, no. And so those were my symptoms leading up to my diagnosis. Most doctors never took me seriously. Oh, it's a pinched nerve. Oh, you picked up something too heavy or whatever. They ran tests. They could never actually diagnose me with anything. And at 29, one morning, I got up to go to work and my vision was blurry. And I truly thought it was just the cheap contact lenses that I bought from the internet.
Yeah.
And it went from blurry one day, the next day, way more blurry, third day, completely blind.
No.
And yeah, I was blind in one eye. So then I started Googling myself, like, am I having a stroke or what's happening to me? And MS came up as a result. So I'm like, well, either I'm having a stroke or I have MS. So after seeing an ophthalmologist, they were pretty nervous because they're like, there was nothing wrong with my eye. So they suggested I go get an MRI because they said like, it seems like it's your optic nerve that is causing the blindness.
Yeah.
So I got an MRI and I got my results in the mail.
Not a doctor called you.
No one called me. I got my results in the mail and it was a whole, like a long paper of medical jargon that means nothing to most people.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, it said, these results are consistent with multiple sclerosis. And I'm like, wow. So that was how I found out.
What? I've never
and I feel
heard
like I'm
that,
getting
actually.
emotional, but yeah, that's how I found out. So it was crazy.
No, it's totally normal to feel emotional because it's so
No, 'cause
it's so cold.
I remember that day like so clearly. Like
Yeah.
I was in my apartment and I was by myself and I was just like, why would they send this to you? Why would they send this to me in the mail?
And it was pre-COVID, so there's no like
Exactly.
reason not to bring you in.
There was no reason for any of that. And yeah.
So then you had to follow up with the medical professional, or
So
did
then,
someone
yeah,
actually call you?
no, I had to find my own neurologist and everything. Yeah. Yeah. Well, first things first was the ophthalmologist that I had seen when he did get my results. He was like, okay, well, now that we know what it is, like you need to see a neuro-ophthalmologist. So she's the one that's going to help with the optic nerve. So I started seeing a neuro-ophthalmologist, and then I also started seeing a neurologist. And yeah, that's it from there on.
Yeah,
That's the beginning of the journey.
that was the beginning.
Yeah.
And so those were the symptoms before your diagnosis that you
Yeah.
received by mail. What about throughout, like let's say like the past decade? Have your symptoms progressed, or has the treatment kind of like suppressed those symptoms?
Right after I was legally blind in my eye for about a year and a half.
So that stayed for a year and a half.
Yes, because the neurologist that I had at that time wasn't specialized in MS, and she was more concerned with, well, you look great, and I'm like, but I'm blind, you know? So she could have given me high dosage steroids to try and reduce the inflammation in my optical nerve. But she did not, because she thought it was just too far gone. She was like, oh, it's too late now. So I never took it. Luckily, my vision came back. It doesn't always come back. A lot of people, like, because if your optical nerve is damaged, it's not being repaired. There's no way to repair your optical nerve. But luckily, I went from legally blind, then I was colorblind, and then yeah, my vision started coming back. And
So today you could see.
yeah,
fine.
I'm at like, I would say 98%. like
Okay.
98%.
Okay.
Even at that, maybe 99%. It's almost 100 now.
Okay, so we've discussed how it affected you physically. What about mentally? How much of an impact did it have on your mental health, this diagnosis?
I would say originally, from what I knew of MS, saw people in wheelchairs, walk with canes, walkers. So I thought that was the end result for me. I'm like, great, I'm going to be in a wheelchair. Great. Like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do that. And I just immediately went there. But then I started to do my own research and really kind of engulfed myself in learning about the disease. And I saw that there were many people that are living normal lives with MS, and not everybody is physically impaired. So at that time, when I had when I was legally blind, shortly after, because I wasn't taking medication then, so shortly after, it started to affect me physically. So I lost control of half of my body. So I was walking with a cane and I was legally blind. And that symptom is reoccurring for me. I haven't had to walk with my cane in about, I would say, a good 6 years.
Okay.
Like pretty much after I had my daughter, I needed it a little bit. But so it's been a while since I've had to use my cane, and it is probably the medication that's working. I was on a different medication back then, but physically, I can't say I have those symptoms anymore.
Okay, and the name of the medication that you're on?
Now I'm on Ocrevus. Previously, I was on something called Obagio, which was a pill in pill form. And the original medication was called Avonex. It's like a really old MS medication, like one of the first ones. And that is an injection that you have to give yourself weekly. And so I did the self-injecting. After 2 years of doing that or 3 years of doing that, I just couldn't do it anymore. Like no matter what thigh you pick, it's just bruised forever. And I would bleed profusely when I would inject myself, and it caused a lot of flu-like symptoms.
Yeah.
So you have to take Advil and Tylenol, like a lot of it, before and after the injection.
Okay.
So you're just like out of commission for about a week on Avonex. I stopped with that because I couldn't do it anymore. And then I started like actually just skipping it altogether. I'm like, I don't feel like it today. I don't feel like doing it. And then I went to the second one, which was a pill form, which worked well until it stopped working, because the way that they see if the medication is working for you is the amount of, if you have flare-ups on it. And they also, when they give you your MRIs, they look for, they call them lesions on your brain.
Yeah.
So just going back to the original diagnosis, when that letter came, one of the sentences on that letter said, this patient has an innumerable amount of lesions.
Yeah.
Which
terrifies
I
you.
was like, that's crazy. Like so many that they can't count. And once again, in that moment, you think, this is the end. Like, I'm not going to live a fulfilling life. And after my research and after I, found out more information about it, lesions are not, you can't count the amount of lesions and think that is like, that's how the disease is going to go. Like you could have 10 million lesions and you can still be walking and running like I am. Or you can have one lesion and you can be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. So
it's not a determining factor.
Yeah, exactly. But sorry, back to your question, mental health. At that point, I said to myself, YOLO, I don't care if I have this disease. I'm going to go, I'm going to live life like normal. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to chill. I'm going to do, I didn't want to let the disease take control of my life.
Yeah.
So I was partying and I just didn't care really at the beginning. I didn't care. Like I was hoping to be better, but I'm like, well, I'm not ever gonna get better, so I might as well just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I would say over time that you figure out that it's not gonna work.
It's not sustainable.
It's not gonna work. It's not sustainable, and I would say like throughout the last 12 years, mental health, it goes up and down. Like, sometimes you're good and sometimes you're not good. And unfortunately, most of the medication that is prescribed for people with MS affects your mental health. So that first injection, it said on the box, and I didn't understand it. It said, this medication may cause anxiety. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
And, I guess around that time, people were, more concerned with mental health, and people were like, I have anxiety. And I never knew what that meant. It's like, I don't really know what that means, but okay, I felt for them, but I just didn't get it. Until you have it, you won't ever get it. Mm-hmm. So this medication may cause anxiety, and it caused crazy anxiety. I started having panic attacks. I called the ambulance. Like I thought I was choking. Like I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
I've really bad anxiety attacks, really, really bad at that time, during that time. And it was all brought on by the medication. And of course, there are external factors in your life that may bring on anxiety, but never to that
This
level.
magnified it.
Yeah, like that level of anxiety I had never experienced in my life. I didn't understand what was happening. And so that is a side effect of the medication, but unfortunately, even when you stop the medication, it still remains. But not as bad. Yeah. Nowhere as bad. Like I had food anxiety. So I'm allergic to so many different things. And then I was nervous to eat things I wouldn't eat. I was very picky. I still am. I guess I still have that food anxiety a little bit. Uh-huh. I was scared to eat things that I've already eaten.
Yeah, yeah. But it's part of the anxiety.
It's
telling yourself false things.
It's the mental illness. It's you know that you're okay when you eat it, but I was just anxious to eat certain things. Mm-hmm. And so anxiety was a big part of the mental health journey during that time, and it still is. Nowhere as close. I really don't. I try to be zen.
Yeah.
I try to just relax and let things go. Yeah, food is a problem because I'm allergic to so many things, so that's just another little component of it all. But there's good days, there's bad days.
Always, yeah.
And this new medication that I'm on has a warning on it, so it can come with suicidal thoughts, and
it actually says that?
Yeah, it can cause.
Yeah.
It can cause you to have really bad depression.
I find prednisone has that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't explicitly say it on the label.
This one does, and they every time they give it to me, they're like, so how have you been feeling? Oh. Have you been anxious? Have you had any thoughts and things like that? I can't say that I have. Do I find my mood a little bit lower? Yeah, I think so. I think it has. It's been 2 years I've been taking it now, and I would say I'm a bit when you stop working and then you're just home and you're kind of that's all you do, you're home. I sit, I don't do much. I sit at home, I clean my house, I cook, take care of my daughter, follow her around with her activities, and you kind of feel like you lose a sense of purpose. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, is that because of the medication? Is that because I don't work anymore? I don't know, maybe just a combo of both.
Yeah, it's all life factors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but, it hasn't gotten as bad as, I've never had suicidal thoughts. Mm-hmm. Depression is also really big in the MS community, because you're kind of mourning the life that you had.
Yeah, or the person that you
were.
That you thought you were going to be.
Or the person that you thought you were going to be.
Yeah,
so
it's a big part of it.
It's hard. You lose friends. You know, people don't get it. You know, I've been told like, you know, if I'm walking up, like I was walking up the stairs with a cane and I've been told like, oh, really? Is that bad?
Like you're being so extra.
But it's like, we're clearly not friends anymore.
Yeah,
You know,
I wanted
like,
to talk about the duality that we all face having autoimmune diseases, that like we look so normal, but then it's like,
Yeah.
no, you don't know what's going on the inside.
Exactly.
So like, how do you deal with that? Like, I'm looking for personal advice.
I mean, at this point, I'm like, you know, at the beginning, I was told like, you don't need to tell everybody that you have MS, but I tell people right away. I'm like, I have MS. So sometimes I'm more fatigued, I'm tired. Even, I'm like, doesn't matter if I sleep 10 hours, I'm tired.
Still tired.
I'm always tired. I'm always yawning. And then people will always have something to say. You know, I've been told like, oh, it's not a competition on who's more tired. I'm like, well, if it was, I win. So, I mean, it's not a competition, but we cannot compare fatigue, it's basically chronic fatigue, to being tired because you didn't sleep well one night.
Yeah.
This is a never-ending thing.
We're never gonna feel energized. Like
You never, like you do have bursts of energy, but followed by, you know, hours laying in bed because you're so tired.
Yeah.
And you feel so drained. There's a spoon theory. I don't know if you've ever heard
I've
of
seen it.
it.
Like spoonies, like on Instagram and stuff. Can you explain to us what that's about?
So spoons is, every person with an autoimmune disorder has, let's just say,
10 spoons a day.
I think it's, 10 spoons a day. I think it's actually 12, they say.
Oh,
12, okay? So any healthy person has like an unlimited amount of spoons a day. They don't need to ration their energy, but we do. So for some people, showering, say you have 12 spoons. So showering, washing your hair, you know, for women, shaving your legs, that's 3 spoons. So you're at 9 spoons for the rest of the day. And then say you work. If you work, that's it. It's usually 5 or 6 spoons. And then, so you're at 3 spoons left. And you still gotta make dinner. And you still gotta do this. And you still gotta do that. And this and that. And there's 6 hours left in the day. But you have no spoons left.
The deficit of spoons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is why, like, this is just a way to show that we don't have energy. Like, we try, but these little tasks, these mundane tasks for regular people, doesn't cost them anything. But for people with autoimmune disorders, it costs them a lot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard, like when people do have things to say, or at this point, first of all, I don't surround myself with people that don't understand what I go through, or what I try not to, at least, you know? And it's not up to me to educate them. I just tell them this is what it is. Because I have MS, I have low energy. If you want to believe me, it's up to you. If you don't want to believe me, if you think I'm playing it up, it's up to you.
I'm not going to waste a spoon on explaining all of this to you.
Exactly. And I think when I was younger, when I was first diagnosed, I think it did bother me, but no, not anymore. I don't like, you know, it's like, what did I do today? Nothing, because I had no energy. I laid down in bed. And I never do nothing because I have a child. So there's no way for me to do nothing. Wake up with her, make lunch, bring her to school, bring her to her activities. She's an only child, so entertain her, cook, clean, put her to bed. Like, it's just never ending. So I think that's more important than explaining to people, like, you know, I just let it roll off my back now because it just doesn't matter to me anymore.
Good. How was navigating pregnancy with an autoimmune disease?
Well,
did they say you were super high risk, like you shouldn't like try pregnancy, or?
No. People with MS, at least, can have healthy pregnancies. I think they usually say so. These are the 3 things that usually happen for a woman that is pregnant. Either the symptoms that she didn't have, sorry, first thing that can happen is you can have a flare-up and it can be bad, or you can stay the same way, like if you're feeling good, and you can remain feeling good. And so that's like, okay, bad, normal, and then sometimes you feel better than you ever felt.
Okay.
Like on a regular day with MS.
Yeah.
So luckily for me, I felt better than I ever felt. I felt, I had energy. I would walk I would take the train to work. So I'd walk from the train station to my office, which was like 25 minutes away.
Yeah.
And I was fine.
Okay.
Of course, as it went further along, the fatigue set in. It's normal. People that do have an autoimmune disease or don't, you're gonna feel tired. But no, I felt better, like energy-wise and just overall health. I felt the best I ever felt when I was pregnant.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's hopeful.
Yeah.
Noted. Okay.
Yeah.
What are some misconceptions about MS?
Well, I would say the misconception is like, example, like what I thought, that I was immediately going to be in a wheelchair, you know, like, or that you need, like, you're going to be physically unable to do certain things. You know, it may be harder for you, but you can still do them, you know. Not for everybody. It's a snowflake disease, is what they like to say. So no snowflake is the same. So your disease is not my disease. And a lot of people like to be like, oh, well, my cousin has MS and he's doing this. And
they're not living the same experiences,
you know?
Yeah.
But we're all different. And I know people that have MS that have problems speaking. I don't know if you know the actress Selma Blair. She was diagnosed a couple years ago and she lost control of her. She couldn't speak. She couldn't speak anymore.
Oh.
She literally could not speak anymore. Like no one could understand her. She really, it really attacked her very bad, actually, really, really bad. Like that was very scary. Like scary to see, because it's like, can that happen to me? But it can. Hopefully it doesn't, but it can happen to anyone.
Because like you're saying, it's in your brain and there's nerves and it could pick and choose any nerve.
Whatever. Exactly.
Wednesday, I'm going for this.
Exactly. Tomorrow you can't walk.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago I had this weird pain, like weird sensation in my arm, and I kept on like rubbing my arm, like my arm feels weird. And it just felt so bizarre. And I couldn't like pinpoint like what happened. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's just MS.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, it's just MS, whatever. And I don't usually get pain with MS, and I think a lot of people like think that you're always in pain. I think it really varies from person to person.
Yeah.
I can't say that I've experienced a lot of pain with MS. I personally have not.
Okay. Because you have a higher tolerance for pain?
No, I
or
just
okay.
I don't have pain really.
Okay.
It's more of, for me, the MS affects me. Like my fatigue levels I'm always tired, literally always tired. And I always feel like drained and cognitively.
Yeah, like brain fog.
Yeah. So
memory.
That is the biggest thing that kept me off from work, because I just couldn't do it anymore. Like everything, like I was put into a new position, I was trained, but every day, it's like I'm relearning the job. I'm like, how do I do this again? How do I never felt comfortable in the position that I was doing, because I always felt like I needed like a
refresh
every day.
Yeah.
Every day, I never felt 100% good at the job that I was doing, because I just felt that cognitively I just wasn't there. And it doesn't help when you have a young child at home, you know? So it's like low sleep, low energy, cognitive problems, brain fog. I just felt like I can't do this anymore. And I've also noticed cognitively, like memory. I don't have memory. And what else? Like, I used to be good at math. I went into math in university, big mistake. I switched programs, but I used to be good at math, and simple additions, I don't know anymore. Like I can't work it out in my brain.
Yeah, quick
which
math.
is crazy, because it's
Isn't that the scariest
it's the weirdest
feeling?
thing. I'm like, and I'm like, this is so, sorry, dumb. I'm like, this is dumb. Like, why don't I know this? And I'm like, why is this so hard for me? You know?
Yeah,
And
I'm often like stuck between like giving myself grace, but then also being so frustrated that
I know.
like simple things don't make sense anymore.
I know.
And I can't retain them, and yeah, it's another battle.
Yeah, and the retaining of information too, it's just everything. Yeah, cognitively, that's where my decline is. And I think that makes sense with the amount of lesions that I have. That makes sense. Like, maybe physically, it's not attacking me physically, but mentally it's attacking me. And well, I can't do much about it. It's not getting better. I mean, there are things that you can do about it. Sorry. There are things you can do. Obviously, you can do brain games to, keep your brain going and, try to keep it working.
Yeah.
And eat healthy, of course, and exercise, they say, is good too, and all the things that we know that are good for our bodies.
But hard to do.
Hard
actually.
to do.
Yeah.
Good, But yeah, cognitively, that's where the MS is really affecting me. And yeah.
Out of all this, how do you stay positive?
I mean, I'm happy for my health. I can walk, I can run, I can work out, I can dance, I can do, you know what I mean? I'm still good overall. So I'm happy about that, I'm not saying I'm not going to be happy if any of those things were to, like, of course I would be sad to, not be able to walk or have to be in a wheelchair. But there's always people that have it worse off than me. So you have to be grateful that you're still here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Speaking of walking and running, we have the MS walk that's coming up. Can you
Yes.
tell us about that and how we can take part in it?
Yes. So I am participating in the MS walk in the West Island at École Secondaire des Sources. It is on May 25th at 10 a.m. And my team is Stay Strong. I'm team captain. You can donate online. I'm pretty sure if you search for my team, you can find it on the website, on the MS Walk website. Or I have a bracelet that I asked one of my favorite jewelers, Liv Jewelry, to make for the MS Walk. And 20% of the proceeds will be going to the team Stay Strong. So if you can purchase that bracelet, and you'll be doing your part in donating and helping us find a cure for MS.
That would be amazing, yeah. Before I let you go, I want to know, what piece of advice do you have for people facing a similar life circumstance?
I would say the best thing would be to, if you can cut out any stress in your life, do it.
Yes, okay, yeah.
Cut out the stress, cut out the negativity, cut out bad-minded people. Just let them go. It's okay. You'll be okay. And once you start focusing on yourself and less on the people surrounding you, life gets better.
That's a reoccurring theme with a lot of my guests. They're like, it's finally time to put ourselves first.
Exactly. It's, I felt like, or I feel I'm 41 and I'm medically retired, and people like, I say this out loud and people are like, what? And I'm like, I worked a lot in my life. I'm like, I started working when I was like 10 years old. I'm like, I would deliver papers to people's doors, okay? Like on my bike. And I've worked and I've paid my dues, and now it's time to focus on me. There's no way, as for me, living with MS, that I'd be able to work full time, take care of my child, and take care of myself. That won't happen. One of them is always going to fall short. And back then, it was me. I wouldn't take care of myself. So
Yeah.
just de-stress, do yoga, Pilates, and
What kind of Pilates do you do?
you know, I really want to do reformer. I really want to go. I live so far.
Yeah, yeah. But there's some out there. I'm sure.
Yeah, there's some in Hudson, but they just, no, I don't really want to go there. Not that I don't want to go. It's a bit far. It's kind of pricey. And yeah, it's far.
Yeah. We'll make a day out of it sometime. in
No,
the
I
summer.
really do want to go. There is one that my friend does. It's called K Pilates. It's in Dorval.
Okay.
It's kind of like a halfway point for me because my parents live closer to that area. So that I'm down to try. So we should do it.
Keep me posted.
Yeah,
I
let's
love
do it.
not mat Pilates.
No.
Just
I've
reformer.
never been on a reformer.
Okay, it's not as scary as it seems.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's fine. I want to do it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
with us today, for being here. It was very enlightening.
You're welcome. I hope I gave you a glimpse of what MS is. There's, like I said, there's a lot more to
Yeah,
it,
of
but
course.
you know, a lot of, if you want to know more, honestly, there's all the information that you want on Google, Pinterest. You can find,
Follow your page.
yeah, and there's a plethora of information out there, and
Absolutely.
not one of us are the same. Some of us have, you know, there's various symptoms. I'm physically okay right now, but I wasn't always, and I don't know what the future holds, but we'll see.
And because we're going to be at the MS Walk on May 25th,
May 25th.
we're going to be able to interact with people that also have
Exactly.
MS. So we're going to
Yeah.
see it in different bodies.
You are going to
So
see a lot of
make sure you
different
guys are out
people,
there.
you know, so it's a fun walk though. It's fun,
Yeah.
it's nice, it's
light.
you know, there's food and coffee
food?
too. Yeah.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
coming without knowing
No,
about
they
this, but
they give you a little lunch and everything. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And in the morning they have
Amazing.
coffee and donuts and yeah.
We'll be there. Thank you so much, Chantal. And you guys,
Thank you.
you know the drill. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to, find your way to the MS Walk on May 25th. I will see you in our next episode. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.
Bye.